Today we shall go to the 16th century in a small little kingdom of today's Rajasthan called Medta, and take inspirations from the astonishing life of a God-intoxicated saint, Mirabai. Mirabai did not know or care for any other spirituality. All that she knew was that she loves her Giridhar Gopal. And in her devotion, she was completely unconcerned about what the world said. In a time in Rajasthan when even the sun and the moon were not allowed to look at the faces of the women in the household, Mirabai would do satsang, dance and chant, unconcerned about what the world said. What Mira taught by her life and examples, you can never learn from any book. Historians have pinned down her year of birth to 1557. It is said that she was born on the Sharat Purnima day. The Sharat Purnima is also called the Ras Purnima. Sri Maharaj Ji appeared in this world on the midnight of the Sharat Purnima. Mirabai appeared in the midday of Sharat Purnima, when the sun was up in the middle of the sky in its full glory. The sun is also called Mihir, and that is how she got the name Mira. Her father was the second son of Rao Duda Singh, the king of that little Rajya. Her father's name was Rao Ratan Singh. From childhood, Mirabai had no interest in toys. In Rajasthani, there is a saying, "Poot ka pag palane mein dikha jaye." You get to know the child's instincts from the time they are in the palana itself. So that is why the parents, they put before the child the Bhagavad Gita and wealth. Where will the child's hand go based on past life sanskars? So no matter how much her mother tried to charm her with toys, she was just not interested. She was looking for a toy of the soul who would enchant her soul. Mira's grandfather, Rao Duda Singh, was a Sant Sevi. He had great faith in the saints, and he would keep inviting saints to his palace. Every few weeks a saint would come for a few days and do satsang. Now the kind of atmosphere at home naturally impacts the child as well. And Mira would love that association she got. Along with the members of the household, she would also sit and listen to the divine messages from the mouths of the saints. When she was just 4 years old, her father, Rao Duda Singh, decided to go on a pilgrimage to the holy place of Dakor in today's Gujarat, where Ranachorji Maharaj's temple, a form of Sri Krishna, is there. Mira insisted to her grandfather that she would also like to go. He took her along. After they had darshan and were returning, Mira said, "Dadaji, can I ask you a question?" Rao Duda Singh said, "Go ahead, beti." That sant who had come had said, "Prabhu Vyapak Sarvatra Samana." God is everywhere. If he is everywhere, then what was the need of coming from Merta to Dakorji? Rao Duda Singh didn't know how to explain to the little child. Nearby, by the side of a stream, a yogi was sitting in meditation. By her past sanskars, she naturally got attracted to saints and yogis. She went and started standing by the side of the meditating yogi. Finally, when the yogi opened his eyes, he saw this charming little child. And the radiance and purity on her face impressed him. He could see right to the soul. He said, "Beti, who are you?" She said, "Param Sant Sevi, Rao Duda Singh's Majla son, Rao Ratan Singh's Suputri I am." Now that answer impressed the yogi tremendously. He accompanied the girl to the grandfather and said, "You are blessed to have such a child in your household. Can I accompany you to your palace?" He walked along back to Merta, and there in the palace he said, "I would like to teach yoga sadhana to your little grandchild Meera." So on the first day when he was teaching Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, etc. and came to Dharan Dhyan, he said, "Beti, visualize the light." And then when he asked her to open the eyes, he said, "What did you see?" She said, "I saw the light of 1,000 suns." After 4 days, the yogi went to Rao Duda and said that my teaching is complete. He said, "In 4 days?" The yogi said, "What will I teach her? I have to learn from her." Rao Duda said, "What will be your dakshina? What can I offer you in return for what you have given?" He said, "What dakshina?" The opportunity to teach such a blessed soul itself is the biggest privilege. There is no other dakshina. A few days went by. Another saint came who used to be engaged in bhajans and kirtans. And when he would sing on his tanpura, Meera would be completely absorbed. Seeing her attraction to the kirtan, the saint, he put the tanpura in her hand and said, "Would you like to learn?" So she was an eager student and started learning the bhajans. Now one day the whole royal family was sitting there, and the yogi said to Meera, "Sing something for them." And when she started singing, they were all astonished that they have got such a child in their family. But the mother was getting worried that this absorption in satsang is taking Meera away from the world. And she's becoming more and more disinclined to the material things around her. Nevertheless, Meera still needed somebody to turn her mind to Sri Krishna. A saint came from nearby Vrindavan, because Merta was close to Vrindavan. And he told her about Sri Krishna and the land of Vrindavan. And from that day, Meera accepted Sri Krishna as her worshipable God. Now, the moment had arrived. It is said in your life, a moment comes. English poets have said, there comes a wave in your life. If taken at the crest, it leads to great fortune. And if you miss the moment, it comes again after many, many years, or maybe never again. The moment had come, Meera was ready. Another saint came, and he had a beautiful deity of Sri Krishna, whom he called Giridhar Gopal. So when he came there, and he established the deity in the room that was given to him, and Meera came for darshan, and the moment she had darshan, she fainted. So since then, a lifetime connection got established. Now, when the saint would worship his Giridhar Gopal, Meera would look and yearn, if I could also do some puja. It is said, Ghayal ki gati ghayal jane. The one who is wounded in divine love understands the nature of the other. So, the saint asked Mirabai, would you like to sing something for Giridhar Gopal? So, Meera used to look forward to the time when she would come to help out in the puja of Giridhar Gopal. The saint would make her do aarti, she would help out with the offerings, and time was going by. 15 days had gone, and she knew the saint is soon going to depart. And that was pulling her heart out. You can't keep a saint in one place. Behta pani rangta jogi. She really wanted Giridhar Gopal. But how to ask? You can't ask somebody, give me your Ishtadev. You can ask for any other gift. So the deepest desire in her heart was, if somehow or the other I can get Giridhar Gopal. Sometimes when the desire is extremely deep, God has his ways of fulfilling it. And the saint started thinking that this little girl has been participating so much in the seva. I must offer some prasad. What prasad can I give her? So he got this Swapnadesh at night. What is there to think? You offer Giridhar Gopal itself. So next day he asked the girl, would you like to keep and serve Giridhar Gopal? Meera's wildest dream was fulfilled. She went and told her mother. The mother was not willing to believe. Is anybody ever going to do that? She said, he has offered Giridhar Gopal to me. And with that, the saint departed. And now, it became Meera's day-long meditation to serve her Giridhar Gopal. She would keep on looking at his face. And if she got the slightest feeling that the smile had reduced, it would get her worried. She would keep on thinking of what she needs to offer. There was no question of reciting mantras. There was no question of throwing water around. She had completely transcended Vaidhi Bhakti. All she knew was that this is her Pran Vallabh and she needs to take care of him. So time started going by, and Meera was now reasonably grown up in her adolescence. So Rao Duda, the grandfather, had grown old, and that was getting Meera worried. Because whenever a marriage proposition would come, Meera would deny it. And the mother would be extremely annoyed, but the grandfather, Rao Duda, would say, let her be. Don't trouble her. So because of her grandfather, Meera used to feel protected. But she now saw that grandfather was in his last moments. At the same time, she felt the need for Guru. The day of Guru Purnima would come, and she would think, if only I too had a Guru. And that desire also got fulfilled. One day, Param Sant Ravidas came that way with his disciples. And he resided in the palace on the invitation of Rao Duda. So he put a tanpura in Meera's hand and said, sing a bhajan. And when she sang, he said, your path is the path of bhajan. And Meera retained that tanpura all her life. So the saint departed. There is a lot of debate on who the Guru of Mirabai was. But the general consensus is that it was Sant Ravidas, and his footprints are installed in the temple of Meera in Chittor, Char Bhujnath Mandir. The footprints of Sant Ravidas are installed there. Now here Rao Duda was on his last legs, and he called out for Meera. Meera arrived. She understood what he wanted. He wanted that in his last moment he should hear a bhajan from his little granddaughter. She sang, and while she was singing, his life has left his body. So Rao Duda departed, but that left Mirabai exposed, because she was now, as per the social norms of those days, of marriageable age. And soon after, her mother came completely determined and said, today I will not take no for an answer, because the proposal has come from none other than the elder son of the great Rana Sangha of Chittor. So just like Prithviraj Chauhan has been a very famous Rajput king known for his valiance and bravery, so also has been Rana Sangha. So his son, Rana Bhojaraj's proposal has come, and you will have to accept it. Now in those days, which girl had the ability to withstand the parents' forcings? If you had been a boy, you could still just run away from home. So Meera decided, if this is the wish of Giridhar Gopal, let me see. But she tried her last bit to convince her mother. And she said, Mother, can a person have two husbands? The mother said, of course not. She said, I am already married. You want me to marry a second time? The mother said, when did you marry? Who's your husband? She said, Mother, have you forgotten? When the marriage procession was going by, I was a little child. And I asked you what all this commotion was about. And you said that this is the Bharat, the Dulhe Raja who is going. And I asked you, who is my Dulha? Who is my bridegroom? And you said, your Dulha is Giridhar Gopal. So on that day, I accepted Giridhar Gopal as my husband. Now you are asking me to go with someone else. Mira's bhajans are mainly written in Rajasthani and in Braj Bhasha. They are outpourings of her utmost passion for Sri Krishna. And somehow they have touched the hearts of the people so deeply. She was during the Bhakti era of India, when about 100 Bhakti saints had come all over the land of Bharatvarsh. And they all had poured out their devotion in their bhajans. But the sheer intensity of Mira's love seemed to touch a strong chord in the aspirations and the understandings of the people. 1,000 such bhajans remain, and they continue to be sung by the greatest singers. Lata Mangeshkar has sung them, M.S. Subbalakshmi has sung them, etc., etc. They have just mesmerized the population era after era. So Mira's logic did not work on her mother, and the marriage was decided. Mira did arrive in the wedding, but she had her Giridhar Gopal with her. Now Bhojaraj had some amount of spiritual understanding and consideration. And he believed in giving people their freedom. So while the 7 rounds were being taken, Mira had Giridhar Gopal along and Bhojaraj did not say anything. After that, she now went to Chittorgarh. It was a powerful Rajput kingdom of Rana Sangha. In the palace was the temple of their Kuladevi Banamata. The mother-in-law said, Beti, offer your pranams to Banmata. Mira refused. She said, I will only do my pranams to Sri Krishna, Giridhar Gopal. And that one refusal created lifelong misery for her. Now somebody can say, what was the harm? Arey, Sri Krishna is in everybody. Sri Krishna himself has said to Uddhav, he says, Visrajya smayamanan drisham vridam cha dahikim praname dandavat bhuma vashva chandala gokharam. Arey Uddhav, see Krishna in the goats and you can do pranam to them as well. The gopis did pranam to Katyayani. But in the case of saints, we must understand that they are in the hands of God. And He is pulling the strings. And if Mira's life had been an easy one, it would not have captured the fancy of the populace the way her struggles did. So nevertheless, the mother-in-law now, she got estranged. Mira was there in the palace and Bhojaraj was permitting her. He could see her saintly nature. The Gangaur Vrat came, which is a very important Vrat amongst the Rajasthani community. Unmarried ladies do it for the sake of their future bridegroom. Married ladies do it for the health and well-being of their husband. So Mira's sister-in-law, Udabai, came and said, "It's the Gangar Vrat today. Put on your best dress and keep the Vrat." Mira refused. Rebellious nature. She refused and she said, "I don't need to put on external ornaments. The inner ornaments are fine." So Udabai said, "You're not concerned about the health of your husband?" Mira said, "My husband is eternally healthy. He doesn't need my Gangar Vrat." Now Udabai also became estranged. She was building enemies so quickly. Slowly, the other maids in the household, they all started looking on Mira as an evil lady who had come there. So they hit upon a conspiracy. And Udabai went to Bhojraj and she said, "I just don't like this kind of behavior." Bhojraj said, "What is the problem? Look, she did not keep the Gangar Vrat." So Bhojraj said, these bhakts, they're thinking, they have their own way, who knows? So Udabai now provoked him and said, "There's something very bad." Bhojraj said, "What?" "At night, she speaks to another man." Bhojraj said, "Really?" "Yeah, I'll show you." Bhojraj said, "All right." So while he had been very lenient and tolerant, now Udabai, his sister, had provoked him. So Bhojraj said, "Okay." Now she took him to Mirabai's puja room. And there, at dusk time, Mira was speaking to her Giridhar Gopal. So Uda was saying, look, there's somebody there." Bhojraj said, "What is going on?" And Mira was speaking as if there was somebody actually present there. Bhojraj was infuriated. He took his sword out of the scabbard and came in full fury. "Who is this? I will kill him." Mira looked at her husband and said, "Whom are you going to kill?" He said, "The person you were speaking to." Mira said, "You're going to kill him?" He said, "Yes, I'll not let him live." So Mira showed Giridhar Gopal. And the whole anger of Bhojraj melted. And from that day, Udabai's faith also in Mira increased. She said, "My God, what a saintly lady she is." She started appreciating Mira's devotion to Giridhar Gopal. And the other maids in the household, they also started looking on her as a saintly soul. Bhojraj already had appreciation for his wife's saintly qualities. His respect for her grew even further. So he asked one day to Mira, "What is the secret of the charm in your personality?" Mira said, "It is all the blessing of my Giridhar Gopal." Bhojraj said, "I want to have darshan of Krishna. Will you help me have darshan? I've heard that devotees' prayers the God does not resist. So, will you help me have darshan?" Now what to do? So Mira showed him some divine jewels. Seeing those jewels, the ornaments, Bhojraj was astonished. He said, "I have never seen anything like this. Who gave these to you?" Meera said, "Krishna." When the day before marriage, I was extremely disturbed and praying to Krishna, he suddenly appeared. He made my hands yellow, haath peele kar diye. And he gave me these jewels and said, "Do not worry." So I can't show you Sri Krishna, but see these jewels. So Bhojraj started worshipping his wife as a saint. And he asked Meera that, "What can I do for you in return for this favor? Give me an opportunity to do seva." Meera said, "When I was in my Pihar parents' home, we had a temple there. We used to do satsang. That atmosphere is missing in my sasural, in-laws' place. Make a temple for me." Bhojraj thought, the opportunity to do a good thing is very rare. Today I have been blessed with this opportunity. So why not fulfill it? He arranged for the making of the temple. It's called the Char Bhujanath Mandir, with the deity of Sri Krishna. And that became now the passion of Mirabai. She would invite sadhus, she would invite saints. They would sit there and do bhajans. And in the bhajans, Meera would sing herself. Sometimes she would break into a dance, and she would dance in the midst of all the sadhus. She was completely God intoxicated. Now, in the royal family, people were getting extremely irritated by her behavior, which had broken the norms of the super traditional Rajasthani society. However, the fame of her bhajans was starting to spread far and wide. Akbar at that time was the Mohammedan emperor of Delhi. And although a Mohammedan, he used to respect all religions, and he used to respect the holy personalities in all religions. We have heard how he went to have darshan of Swami Haridas in Vrindavan. And he asked, "Birbal, can we not arrange for Mirabai's bhajans to be sung to me?" Mirabai's was a very powerful Rajput kingdom, Chittorgarh of Rana Sangha. Nothing was possible. Akbar changed his dress and went incognito with Tansen. So he was accompanied by Tansen, and they joined the satsang of Mirabai. And after hearing Mirabai's bhajan, Akbar's heart was moved. He announced himself and said, "I am the king of Hindustan. Can I offer you something today?" Mirabai refused. Nevertheless, Akbar took a necklace and put it in front of the deity. This news spread and came to Rana Sangha. Then the Mohammedan emperor had come and he's offered this. And Rana Sangha, being a Kshatriya, being a Rajput warrior, he had his pride which was deeply hurt. And that then Bhojraj too had no choice. Rana Sangha said, there must be a praischit. There must be a repentance for this. So Meera said, there will be a repentance. She took Giridhar Gopal in her hand and she walked into the stream. This is the end. However, God had different plans. Shyam Sundar himself manifested. He held Meera in his arms and took her out. And said, now your worldly life is over. Bhojraj repented. Nevertheless, the divine plan had started moving. In the very next battle, both Rana Sangha and Bhojraj got fatally wounded. And soon after, they were brought back to the palace. Bhojraj also, in his last moment, he requested Meera for a blessing. And Meera placed her palm on his head and he departed from the world. Now Bhojraj's cousin, Chachera Bhai, Rana Vikramjit, he became the king. And he used to dislike all this satsang that used to happen. This is inappropriate. He would be irritated. But what to do with this lady who is in the home, who refuses to listen to anyone? And she breaks all the norms and calls the sadhus and does satsang and keeps on chanting. Has no reverence for the prestige of our family. Vikramjit said, we need to get rid of her. Now every morning, Meera used to take a garland, walk through the garden in the palace and offer it to her deity in the Charbhujnath temple. Vikramjit arranged for a tiger to be placed in the garden. Udabai got wind. Udabai warned Meera. Now Meera has discussed in her bhajans of the various perils that Vikramjit put her through, including this one. Udabai said, beware, Vikramjit is up to no good. So Mirabai said that I don't care. If Vikramjit is annoyed, it doesn't matter. But if my Sri Krishna is annoyed, it truly matters. I don't care for the tiger. I am going. She took the garland, walked through the garden. The tiger sat docile like a little cat. And Meera returned. Then the world famous episode we have all heard of, Vikramjit asked his ministers, is there some really powerful poison like Kalakut, etc.? It was arranged. It was put in golden vessels, 5 golden vessels. And it was sent to Meera. The Charanamrit of Sri Krishna has come from Vrindavan. Udabai again had wind of it and she warned Meera, don't, this is poison. Meera said, if it has come from Vrindavan, if it is the Charanamrit of Sri Krishna, what is there to fear? So we have all heard this episode. She drank the poison and nothing happened to her. However, at that point, she decided that she now needs to leave Chittor. And from Chittor was not a long distance away to Vrindavan. She stayed there for 2 years. There's a little temple of Mirabai close to the Radha Damodar Mandir. From the year 1994 till the year 2006, every year I used to take a parikrama to Vrindavan. The hundreds of devotees, 4 days in Brajdham. And we would always visit the temple of Mirabai. The last parikrama was in the year 2013. Anybody attended it? So, Meera stayed there for 2 years. That is where she met Jiva Goswami as well. From there, she moved to Dwarka. So Dwarka is the extreme edge of Gujarat by the sea coast. And there's the Dwarkadhish temple there. That's where Meera used to reside and do her bhajans. However, the 8 years that she stayed away from Chittor, calamities kept on befalling Chittor. It was just like when Vibhishan left Lanka. Tulsidas ji says the Tej disappeared from Lanka. The Tej is sustained by the saints, and they are able to ward off the evil. And when the saints depart, then that basis is gone. So the moment Meera left the kingdom of Chittorgarh, calamities started befalling. Now, ministers of Rana Vikramjit, they convinced him that, look, you did not treat her well, she left. It is in your interest and the interest of the kingdom to call her back. So a team was established and they came to meet Meera in Dwarka. They arrived at midday when Meera was inside the temple. And they conveyed Vikramjit's invitation and beseeching, pleading to return. Meera received the message, but she looked at Sri Krishna. And she said, leaving you, where will I go now? She just walked into the temple and merged into the deity. Her chunari was left outside. That is why even today, the deity of Sri Krishna is decorated with Mirabai's chunari. That brings Mirabai's charit to an end. What she taught by her life and by her bhajans, no book can ever teach. She became immortal in the minds of the people. Shri Giridhar Gopal ki, Shrimad Sadguru Sarkar ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.